Hi, I'm that weirdo who loves a mix of digital and analog resources while running a D&D game. There are advantages to both a in-person and virtual game, so why not both? Today, let's talk about how I use and set up Foundry VTT to run in-person games. I'll put on the screen my general setup and what it looks like. And yes, it's pretty janky. This is actually what I do for my Drakenheim game, which has 5 players. So we usually set up a second foldable table up like this and go from there. Actually, my stepdad and I have talked about building our own table for months, but we're both very busy people is all it is. Either way, we set up this folding table and he did build a box for the TV, which we lay on the table to display maps. I think the TV was like $80 at Walmart, by the way. It was on sale at the time. I don't know, this was like a year ago though, so it's not like the best, highest quality TV, but we literally only use it for maps. But let's talk about setting things up in Foundry. The biggest problem, or maybe the advantage, I'm not sure, is that when you lay out a map in front of your players, they can usually see the whole thing, okay? With Foundry, you can actually hide specific rooms. I do this with token vision. Typically make a group token or actor and put the whole party in there just to make sure that I account for like dark vision and etc. I also have the whole party in my Foundry because I do recaps of each session and I like to use them to kind of show general position on maps and things like that. I literally have set up the token to have just a little circle. Originally had it be invisible, but then I couldn't track where they were. So now I just use this little circle and the players know that that is just a representation of light source for them. Then drop that token on the map and deselect outside of that. If you're doing something like this setup, I highly recommend going in and putting these tokens on the map beforehand and then making them invisible. You can shift click, by the way, to shift click and drag to move it onto the map and place it invisibly. Because if you click and drag it onto the screen while you are playing the game, it will move the whole map for the second setup to where you've placed the new token, and then you have to readjust the map so to match your tokens again. The other thing I typically do for my maps for setup is to make sure that all the grids are a brighter color, mostly because on Drakenheim, all the maps are really dark. They're black backgrounds and or don't have a lot of color to them. So making the grid lines white helps my players see them on the table. If you like what you're watching, consider supporting me on Patreon, the best way to support creators on YouTube. You can get behind the scenes, plus you can get ad-free versions of my videos. Also, live streams, there's shop discounts, hopefully some paper products coming out, definitely a magazine in the works. There's lots of stuff there. Link in the description. Now, when running the game, I typically have my laptop connected to this TV. So on the TV, I will have one window that is just a special user that is called Maps that has control of all of the players and that group token. Then on my laptop, I have a different window open. Usually I have the one open in incognito mode or in a different username on Google. And then I have my version where I've logged into the DM version of the campaign so that I can adjust things. I can use it as a resource. I also run music and stuff off of this side. But typically when I put it on the TV, I will hide all the UI bits. You can use the little arrows to close those out. And then I typically hit the F11 key to make it full screen on that monitor so that they can't even see like any notifications or anything that comes in. I will also change the screen layout to fit that TV better. This you have to actually accomplish in your computer. You cannot rotate maps in Foundry, which is kind of a pain, but there's a workaround. You can just rotate the monitor itself. For that, you need to, I'm obviously on a Windows machine. So you right click on the desktop, go to display settings, and then click on the monitor you want to rotate. and then go to display orientation and then change that. This will rotate the whole screen, and therefore it'll make the map fit your screen better. Another just side note bonus thing with running it like this is that we actually had an issue at one point with D&D Beyond not showing our players' character sheets. Most of my players use paper and pencil, but that day my husband's character sheet for some reason would not load. We actually used the D&D importer and imported it into Foundry, and it had all of his stats, including his like HP and stuff. It's just for some reason it wasn't showing on the website that day. He used a character sheet in Foundry instead of D&D Beyond. It has since fixed itself, so D&D Beyond is working. I'm not sure what bug we've encountered there. That was just something that kind of helped having both of these things. In general though, I don't use Foundry itself for much else. You can roll tables. I do use it to look up monsters, or if I can't find something in the book, I also will sometimes write important things that I feel like I keep losing into the journal entries. But that's about it for using Foundry at the table. I typically do use Foundry for online games, and I have been using it for recaps. So I have modules turned on and things like that that I wouldn't necessarily need in-person animation modules and things like that, so that I can have a little bit of animation when I do the recap. The other thing I typically do is I will actually archive scenes and things that I don't need anymore to keep the resource management down and make it easier to load, because my laptop is just not, she's in rough shape. She's old. Hopefully this helps you. I don't know if there are a lot of other people out there who run games like this or not, but let me know in the comments, because I'd be curious to see how many do. You might be wondering what else is behind my DM screen, and well, there's gonna be a video for that as well, and I'll post it up here when it's done. So I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.